Hello, welcome back to another video on the Niche Ball YouTube channel. Today we will be reviewing our underrated Premier League 11. So let's start straight away. Joe, who is your defence?
For me, in goal, I've got Areola. Just thought he's been very crucial to West Ham's success this season and their push for Europe. So yeah, that's my goalkeeper. Left back, I've got Robinson for Fulham. Each time I watch Fulham play, especially in the cup, they've impressed me. He's impressed me a
Such a
lot.
good shot.
Yeah, he's very good defensively. Attacking, could improve a bit, but yeah, he's decent. It's my other centre back. Well, no, my first centre back is Branthwaite from Everton. He's really impressed me. He's got a good,
Yeah.
strong build. He's good in the air. I remember
Look, I
watching.
wouldn't say he's underrated though, really.
Yeah, for me, I don't know. I just don't really see people.
I feel like he's quite rated.
Nah, I'd argue he's underrated. Nah, I'd agree with that.
Because he's sort of plays for a lower table side, and I just don't. I think he should get a lot of credit because if Everton didn't get that point deduction, I think with their sort of
Yeah, they're
push up
sure.
table. Yeah, my other centre back, which is a weird one, but I've gone for someone who maybe not that underrated, but just I don't think they applaud it. I think Gabriel. I don't know why, but obviously as a Tottenham fan,
That's
maybe I
actually a good
shouldn't be doing
shout.
this,
That's a
but,
really good shout.
like he's good in the air. He's very good goal threat, and he's not that bad defensively. I just think he gets overshadowed by Saliba.
All I'm saying, I don't think Saliba will be as good as a centre back as he is if he didn't have Gabriel.
Yeah, no,
Like you can very tell the difference between when one's on the pitch and one isn't on the pitch.
Yeah, so that's my two centre backs there, and then right back, I've gone for a weird one, but this player I quite like, and I see their own fans sort of talk about him, talk him down, but Dalot for Man United, I quite like him. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
was thinking, man.
haven't really got much reason. Obviously, he had a nice goal against Wigan, but anytime I watch him, he doesn't really seem to do much wrong for me. Doesn't really deserve the criticism he gets from United fans sometimes. But yeah, that's my defence. Casey, what about yours?
In goal, I got Leno. Obviously he was obviously at the end of his Arsenal career, he fizzled out a little bit, but he was good. He was very important for many years. Obviously he's been really good for Fulham. My left back is Michaelenko. I thought last year he was absolutely pony, but this year I don't know. He's got he's a whole different player. I think he's really good. He's just he's a bit he had a bit of a Porro thing. He's just completely changed his whole entire aura as a player. My first centre back is Shaw. I think Lewis would like that one. I think he's just one of them centre backs. I feel like the league doesn't appreciate. Again, he used to be so pony, and all of a sudden, under Eddie Howe, he's become an important player, probably one of your better players. So that's why I put him. And my next centre back is Konsa. I think he's very underrated. Every single time I've watched him, he's really impressed me, and I genuinely think he could get a possible England shout. And he's just really good on the ball. I think he's really underrated good on the ball. And my right back is Emerson, but not Emerson Royale, the Emerson from West Ham. He plays left back, but I'm pretty sure he's played right back before for Italy. And I don't know, he's just he's a player that like you said about Dalot, he just doesn't really seem to do much wrong.
Yeah.
Lewis, what's your defence?
So with my goalkeeper, I've gone with Stefan Ortega of Man City.
Damn, that is a weird shout, but yeah, I see it.
Genuinely, I think he starts for every Premier League team outside of the top six. He's great with his feet. He's literally, he's very similar to Ederson. You can tell what Pep Guardiola wants in his goalkeepers.
Yeah,
he's a great feet, very great stopper.
He is good, yeah.
Yeah. Right back, I've gone with my very own Tino Livramento. I think 30 million. He defied his 30 million price tag within 3 appearances for Newcastle. That cup game against Man United, man of the match. He's just been excellent. He's great on the ball. He honestly really good at dribbling. You saw that in the PSG away game in the Champions League. He just all round excellent. My centre back first, it had to be Fabian Shaw. I mean, who else? Arguably the most underrated player I have in this team. Casey, I would like to argue your point saying he used to be pony. Fabian Shaw has never had a bad game in a Newcastle United shirt. He's always been consistent. Genuinely, that man.
I remember some stinkers. I can't think of the games, but I do remember there were games where he's had stinkers.
£3 million. For £3 million, he is phenomenal. He's the best ball-playing centre-back in the Premier League, undoubtedly. And I will not hear you can argue with a wall when I say that. Because honestly, Fabian Shaw, just no. I wouldn't even have time to listen to your argument on that because Fabian Shaw is just phenomenal on the ball. And, the lad only scores screamers.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, my other centre-back, I've gone with Max Kilman of Wolves.
I was thinking about that as well.
I think, what is he? He's still young, 23, 24, I want to say. He's already captaining that Wolves team ahead of experienced players like Craig Dawson, for example, Jose Sarr.
Yeah.
He's fast. He's excellent in the air. He's big,
very physical.
That's quiet. And then for my left back, I've also gone with Anthony Robinson of Fulham. I would have argued Nathan Ake, but Robinson just most interceptions in the Premier League this season. He's just rapid. He likes to get forward, and he's got interest in hair. To be fair, I think that's also a valid point. Right?
Yeah.
Do you want to take us at the midfield?
Yeah, I will. For me, for my CDM, I went for sort of a player that he's sort of been touted a lot for a move for Arsenal, but for me, I still think he's a bit underrated. It was Onana from Everton. He's I do like talking about sort of players that are fit to play in the Premier League and sort of got that build, and he really does. Strong, good on the ball. He's sort of, him and Decore in that midfield for Everton this season have been very impressive, and they're sort of keeping that Everton team alive at the moment. So that's my CDM. And for my other midfielder, coming back from injury, Bentancur, which for me, I would argue is because
probably the most underrated player in the league.
I think he's got a shout to be Tottenham's best player, and I'm not joking. When he's fully fit, I know last year, like people forget last year. The only reason, well, not the only reason, but one of the main reasons we fell off is after Bentancur got injured. That was it. Absolutely capitulated, and he's not had the best games so far after coming back. He's had a couple good ones, but as of recent, it's been a bit poor. But for me, he's got that potential. If he gets back to full fitness, he's amazing. And for my 10, someone who I watched quite a lot of last year at Bristol City, and it's Alex Scott. I think that kid is, I'm telling you, he's something,
So good. I really wanted him at Tottenham.
Yeah, at Bristol City, he just used to run the gaff. I'm telling you, I've watched a lot of Bristol City games because of my mate, and he just you could always tell that he'd be one of those Championship players that would get a big Premier League move. Maybe you'd argue Bournemouth isn't big, but I think any Premier League move for a Championship player is big. So that's my midfield sorted. Casey, what about you?
At CDM, I got Pascal Gross. I said about Bentancur, I think Bentancur is probably top 3 most underrated players in the Premier League. But Gross is just unbelievable. A bit like how Lewis was talking about earlier, like I think they're going for 2 million. And he's got their most goals ever in the Premier League. He can play literally everywhere. He's a leader. He's even got German caps now. He's just an unbelievable player. He's kept them up when they're obviously a bit more against team. Just a fantastic player. And I think he's just so underappreciated. And my centre mid is Pape Matar Sarr. I'll keep glazing my boy until my eventual death because I just love that guy so much. Not even just on the pitch, off the pitch, just a lovely guy. And he's a player you don't really realise when he's not playing. And my attacking midfielder, I got Cunha. I obviously want to play on that striker. It's not his best position, but he's been playing there recently. I think he's been really underrated recently. Last year, again, he's on a play. I really did not see the hype. Obviously, he went from Atletico Madrid all the way to Wolves, and it was a mad thing, and he was poor there. But this season, he's just come under this new light, and I think he's just a bit of a workhorse, and I just think he's just quite a very underappreciated player. Lewis, what's your midfield looking like?
So started off with my defensive midfielder. I've gone with Alvarez of West Ham.
I think
he signed for 30 million in the summer, and since then all I've heard is West Ham fans have raved on about him to the point where at first I was like, I've not seen much of him over social media and stuff. He can't be that good. But after watching a few West Ham games, I noticed how he does just completely. He can dictate the pace of a game. If a game's end-to-end moving far too fast, he will just be like, right, I'm going to be in control of this game, slow it down. Or, he can get his team forward as well. He's strong. Nobody can really push him off the ball with that much ease. I just think he's just been excellent for them, and he's been worth 30 million, if not more. My centre midfielder, I've also gone with Pascal Gross. I don't really need to give a reason for that. I think Casey summed it up pretty well. I think he is one of the most fantastic players. And my attacking midfielder might cause a bit of controversy because of his price tag, but I've gone with Morgan Gibbs-White.
That's a really good one.
I think when he signed for Forest for 40 million after a good season in the Championship with Sheffield United, I was thinking, there's no way that man's worth 40 million after one good Championship season. Yes, he's young, but I don't think anybody that has a good season in the Championship should then be worth that much. But to be fair, he is by far, in my eyes, Nottingham Forest's best player. You know, he's captained them this season. I remember when they played Newcastle, and you know that Chris Wood hat-trick game, but we won't go too much into that. But Gibbs White was just like
unbelievable that game.
Levels, like he just dictated that. And I think now, you know, he probably is worth about 50-60 million, honestly. So yeah, that's the midfield's done. Joe, would you like to lead the window attack?
Yeah, you know what? I think Lewis, I think you'll like my left wing. To be honest, I've gone for Anthony Gordon. Now, last season, when Tottenham were interested in him, or was it? I don't know if it was the season before. Season before we were interested in him in the summer. I wasn't really that impressed with him. And then obviously he went to Newcastle in the January transfer window, sort of forced that move. And I still was sort of a bit like, he's a bit naff, is he worth it? And this season, you know, he's just, there's not really much to say about him. And just, he's really impressed me with his being able to pick up more goals and assists, because, you know, he sort of lacked that a bit last season. On the ball, you know, dribbling, he's great at it. And I'm sure Lewis can tell you much more than me, because I don't watch much of Newcastle, but from every game I've watched, he's impressed me quite a lot, to be honest. And my right wing is another rival club's player, Madueke. For me, I just love watching him play. He doesn't get much game time at Chelsea. Yeah, I think, like, obviously, not saying I watched PSV, but, you know, you obviously, people saw the highlights from him at PSV, and then he went to Chelsea. Every time I've seen him play for Chelsea, for me, he's impressed me. Like, I don't know. It's one of those sort of niche sort of ones where it's a player outside of my team which I just like. Like, I don't know. I haven't really got much of a reason. No one really talks about him. Doesn't get the game time at Chelsea, and he's, you know, he had against Luton. Oh, it was Luton, but he had a good game against Luton. He had a good game against good game. He came on and got the penalty goal against Palace. But you know what? That's it. And striker, I'm going to have to go for my boy Richarlison. As of recent, you know, really picking up. And this is the thing, right? People think, oh, he's just scoring goals now. But if you actually watch Tottenham play, you'll understand that this guy last season, as much as the whole thing where he scored one goal, but his hold-up play was tragic. The ball was trampoline touch. I'm telling you, the ball would not stick to him. Always trying these little flicks and dummies. Now, he just gets his head down, firms the fouls, takes holds the ball up, back to the defender, moves it along. And, you know, people may say that the goals he's scoring aren't that impressive, but what more do you really want in a striker of that sort of in the system we play? So yeah, that's my 11 done. Casey, what's your front three?
My left wing, I've gone with Leon Bailey. Again, another player who last season was absolutely shocking. It's not this season he was shocking. And then, like, you know, how Villa have been all season, he's just really picked up his form, and he's just a really fun player to watch, and he's adding goals and assists to his game. And I think, he's just a decent player. Like, obviously, he was another signing that when he came to Premier, I thought, oh, that's a good pickup. You know, he was absolutely lighting up in Bayern Leverkusen, and, you know, I thought that's a pretty big signing for Villa. He's been pretty poor. He's been on and off, but I think he's in a good form right now. I think he's been pretty good this season. My right winger, I've got Elanga. You know, he kind of reminds me of Johnson in a way, but he just scores goals a lot more. It's like everything he does is good, but it's just like his final third. If he could like master that, he'd be honestly some of the best players in the Premier League. Like, he just seems a bit unsure sometimes, but he's still getting his goals and assists. So, like, you know, if he could just, you know, pattern his smartness up a little bit more, maybe he'd get even more. But yeah, I just think he's just very underappreciated, and he's still got more goals and assists, I think, than any other Man United player. So that just shows how tragic Man United are. And my striker is Pedro. Pedro is just so he's got the second most goals in the Premier League for a striker. He can play everywhere. I mean, I can keep going on about him all day, man. I really like him as a player. I know he kind of dicked on us, was a bit of a dick to us in the Brighton game, but he is a fantastic player, and I think he's going right to the top. That's my 11 done. And what about you, Lewis?
So my right winger, I've gone with Leon Bailey. You know, I think, you know, as you said, signed from Leverkusen after a great season. Was pretty poor in his first season for Aston Villa. And then, you know, they signed Diaby, and I was thinking, so they've just replaced one good Leverkusen player with another good Leverkusen player. And I was just thinking a bit like, oh, well, you know, does that mean his time's up? Is he going to get that many opportunities? But honestly, every time I've seen him play this season, he comes on, he makes an impact. Newcastle recently turned Aston Villa over the other night, and I was just, he came on, and 6'7" Dan Burn. You can imagine with those long legs, he's a lot to get past, and just that turn, that moment in the game, just bang bang, heel to heel little turn, sent Dan Burn on his backside. He's got that turn of pace. He's a great dribbler. He's added, as Casey said, goals to his game. Many Villa fans I saw were really annoyed that Emery hasn't been starting him recently. Apparently that was because he was carrying a knock in the Newcastle game, so they didn't want to risk him. But he's been excellent. He's great. He's improved massively. For my left winger, I've gone with Arsenal's Leandro Trossard. I think it's rather self-explanatory, really. He was great at Brighton, sort of forced that move, which I think probably was the wrong idea, considering he's ended up at one of the only teams in the Premier League where they've already got two very good wingers. He has evolved just to more of a centre forward, like a false nine, which gets him more game time because Gabriel Jesus isn't exactly performing as such. Trossard, he's not the fastest player, but he's great with the ball at his feet. He's creative. He can score goals as well. I think that's what you really want in a modern day footballer, to be honest. And then for my striker, this is going to sound really boring, but I have gone with Julian Alvarez. I think he don't get us wrong. He's already rated highly. Yeah. But because he is in Haaland's shadow massively, he's not rated high enough. I'm going to put it out there. Other than Man City, Alvarez would start for any other team in the Premier League. For me, that is easily without a doubt. He's getting in that Arsenal team ahead of Jesus. He's getting in that Liverpool team ahead of Nunez. As much as I rate Nunez, I think Alvarez is just, he can take set pieces, he's scored goals, he can get assists, he can drop in and play in that attacking midfield role. He's so versatile, he's so young, he's just won the treble with Man City. So, I think that sums it up, really. I think we've all had very good 11s, we've shared some players, but every answer and reasoning, I think, has been totally justified and totally understandable.
Yeah, I don't know. There's only one player out of all of our 11s, which I don't really agree with, which is, for Casey, you're getting annoyed at me since you seem so passionate about him, is João Pedro, man. I don't see it, man. I don't see it. I don't know about you, but
10 penalty goals this season.
Penalty merchant, man. I don't know. Obviously he's a good player, but I don't know.
I know there'll be people that'll say, but penalties are still goals. You've got to be there to score them. That's fair enough. But there's players in the Conference League who are good at taking penalties, who would score those penalty goals. Awesome. So it means nothing. It doesn't. In my eyes, penalty goals, yes, they are still goals. I'm not denying that. But scoring penalty goals doesn't then make you a good striker. If you finish a season with 70 goals, but 67 of them are penalties, don't get us wrong. 70 goals looks great, but if you are truly analysing a footballer, you can't say that this player's unbelievable because he scored that many penalties.
Yeah, but the penalty goals is not the reason why he's a good player. It's his overall game. Obviously his goals are good, but it's the fact that he can play all across the front three. He can play attacking midfielder. He's a hold-up player. It's fantastic. He's good with his feet. He's creative. And he's only 22, and he's also had to step up to Europe and the Premier League in one season. I think he's done a fantastic job in that, and for his age, I think he doesn't get spoken up about enough. Everyone always goes on but the Bukayo Sakas and stuff like that. He's on par with Saka, arguably.
Whoa.
That is outrageous.
No, but just hear me out. Like I said, he went from being in the Championship with Watford, who weren't even a team that was pushing promotion. They were pony last year. He's come up, right, for a pretty expensive price tag for Brighton, and he's had to play Europa League and Premier League for his first ever time. And he came into this team, took the penalty spot, took the spot of the penalty kicker, was I'm him, and to scored all of his penalties. Also, on top of that, being a fantastic player, being all across the front three, being able to play that attacking mid role, he is an unbelievable player, and he's genuinely gonna go right to the top. And people will only say that when he's gonna next season he's gonna go I don't know, the season after he's gonna get a move to City or fucking Atletico Madrid or some shit. I'm he's actually pretty good. I'm well, I've been telling this whole time.
Nah, but he had his season at Watford in the I am, but you know what?
No, he didn't.
Yes, I swear he did. I swear he did.
No, he didn't. He was at. He didn't.
No, Casey, honestly, I can promise you that João Pedro's played for Watford for 3-4 years, He had more good
Yes.
seasons in the Premier League.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he did.
but also-
he played
also-
28 games in the Prem. Casey, I'm telling you, like that's what I'm saying. That's the only guy. And also, he was
But also he was like 18.
When he played us, he scored a brace of penalties and he was moving like a twat.
I don't, honestly, that is the only one I disagree with. I can understand the reason behind it, but
How are you doing that over Johan Madueke?
Yeah, no.
Right, okay, no, so if we're gonna turn this into a debate, that's fair enough. This is what the channel's for. If we're gonna turn this into a debate, I would also say, Madueke is probably a bit of a rogue shout. But
Madueke is worse than Pedro. Like, obviously, like, yeah, it's fair enough. But like, how is Pedro a worse shout than Madueke? He hasn't got like 3 goals this season.
No, I'm sorry.
He's been getting minimal minutes. João Pedro has been playing over Evan Ferguson, who is miles better. Than him.
You can't really compare them, to be fair, though.
João Pedro, mate, he's. Oh no, you know what? Well, we can do a debate video in another time. But I ain't here to argue. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. That's our underrated 11. Yeah, I hope you guys agree with us on our shouts. Maybe not João Pedro, but in a bit, guys.
Just leave a comment. In a bit, boys.